small fringe minority of people who are on their way to Ottawa or who are holding unacceptable views that they're expressing do not represent the views of Canadians.
The fact our leader is promoting segregation.
Hey everybody, it's Everett with Ohio for Freedom, and tonight, Just In is on the fringes. All right, so there's a big truckers convoy. Everybody knows that it is huge. It is overwhelming. It is enormously powerful. It is enormously joyous. It is a movement of we the people. President Trump has weighed in on it, as has many leaders, except Justin seems to be completely out of the mix. And the reason that I know this is because my friend Robert from Saskatchewan and many others, but Robert has been faithful to send me plenty of clips and plenty of pieces of news coverage to know what's going on. And I find it very hilarious. I find it a lot of fun to look at the very predictable narrative. We knew it was coming. We just didn't know how funny it would be. So I have asked Robert to join me. And we are also joined by Miss Tony Wells. So I'm going to say hi, Robert, and hi, Tony. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you good.
Very good. Well, thank you very much. Now, Tony, if you can please introduce yourself and the name of your organization. And I let Robert know we want to have you back real soon, and we want to go in depth about what you're all about. But we got to take an evening here and just savor the moment as we carefully analyze the moment, because honestly, this is hilarious to me. But Tony, can you introduce yourself and the group that you represent, please?
Yes, I am Tony Wells. So I am the provincial chapter leader of Action for Canada in Saskatchewan.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And we have here at Ohio for Freedom, we care about freedom and the encroachments on it, no matter where they are. And we have long time stood with y'all. Because y'all, here's what I want to do. I want to go back and I'm going to just take my time. Now, I'm not sure if you guys can see what I'm playing. I'm pretty sure that you will be able to hear what I'm playing. If not, I'll have to regurgitate it back to you. And if anything falls apart, I'm going to call Robert, put y'all on speaker, and we're just going to have fun. And, you know, we've got a professional popcorn maker downstairs. And I'm tempted to go get some, but then that would kind of be like AOC. So let me go ahead and play this. And what I'm going to do is I've got it in the video player so I can stop and start. I should be able to, but I want to go here in the United States. By the way, do y'all ever see any MSNBC up there?
Not a lot.
Well, good. God is good.
Not a lot of it, but yeah, if you look for it, you can see it.
Yeah, they are tiny, but their narcissism makes up for it. But this is a morning show with Morning Joe and Mika. And again, I'm not sure if you can see it, but I'm pretty sure you will be able to hear it. So here we're going to go. I'm going to let a little bit play, and then we're going to, so try to listen close, and we're going to try to take it apart little by little. Here we go.
Dozens of trucks and other vehicles could be seen blocking the downtown area of Ottawa as protesters rallied against vaccine mandates, masks, and lockdowns.
Okay. Can you hear that okay?
Yep.
Okay. You can't see it though, right?
No.
Okay. So that's Mika. And so, Tony, my question for you is, she just said that dozens of trucks are blocking traffic in Ottawa. Now, Mika is a professional. She's highly skilled, highly trained. She goes over the footage that they're showing of these trucks, and she is calling those thousands of trucks, dozens of trucks. So based on that brilliant observation, Tony, what would you say is probably an accurate assessment of her IQ? Is she in the triple digits or low in the double digits? What do you think?
When I hear comments like that, I get worried about our education system and exactly how we have taught people to math.
Gotcha. Robert, do you have a comment?
It's just mind-blowing on what they think they can get away with.
Yeah.
When everything is in plain sight, and there's so many videos and live feeds everywhere. Like It's just astronomical to think that they could
hang
they
in
could
there.
get away with it.
It's going to get better. But and before I forget, she said blocking traffic. Now, to your knowledge, they're in Ottawa. Did they show up? Are they do they have the city barricaded across intersections and stuff? Is that what's happening?
No, there's a few
No, they do
intersections
not.
that they're allowed to, but they've left everything open for fire and ambulance. And because could you imagine if they block stuff and something serious happened? It'd be the
Right.
end of it. We'd never hear the end of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
they've
we're going to get.
been working very, very closely with traffic, with the police down there. They've had an action plan. They have followed all of the rules, all of everything that has been asked. Any of the OPP officers or the officers that have been talked to, everybody's been very, very cooperative, very peaceful. They are not blocking anything that they should not be blocking.
So we didn't get a number before, but I'm gonna say it sounds like about a 70, maybe a 60 or a 70 on the IQ points. All right, let's keep going. There's more.
Seems like an interesting way to spend your weekend.
This is Morning
The
Joe talking.
demonstrations were initially aimed at pushback against vaccine mandates for truck drivers crossing the U.S.-Canada border.
Yeah.
But the movement escalated into an expression of disapproval with the Canadian government's COVID-19 policies.
Oh.
Officials say several investigations are underway into reports of severe vandalism and criminal behavior, including the desecration of national monuments.
Severe vandalism. So I deprived the audience there of the screen for a little bit. Sorry about that. But Tony, are you aware of any severe vandalism?
With BLM, yes. With this convoy, no.
Right. I think it's interesting that the false narrative they're trying to push on January 6th is we had an insurrection. I guess you just change a few syllables and you can turn it into a desecration. So how much desecrating's been going on?
You can change one word, apparently, and speaking specifically to the Terry Fox statue. So when they did it and they put a mask on Terry Fox, they adorned him with a mask. They gave Terry Fox an upside down Canadian flag because our country is in peril, and a freedom poster. And that was desecration. The narrative is so ridiculous, and it's out there for everybody to see. And then what they don't show is the people going and completely cleaning the statue head to toe, making sure that it was spick and span, which I don't think anybody in Ottawa has ever done anyway.
Now, wait a second. I didn't even know that. So I did see a picture where somebody put mandate freedom on and I don't know these statues, but it might be the one you're talking about. But you're saying that a while back, BLM actually put a mask on this same statue. Is that what happened?
Yeah, I don't know if it was BLM, but when the masking mandates came in, they masked the Terry Fox. And if anybody knows the history of Terry Fox, he would have stood against this as well. This is what he was running for. And this is why he's our nation's a hero here. And they had masked him, and it was an adornment. It was lovely. But when it doesn't fit their narrative, it's desecration. Come on, guys. And and MSN is not showing the after picture of Terry Fox sans pigeon poop.
Oh, pigeon. Okay. All right. Well, there's more to this clip. We're going to go, and I think the audience can see it here. By the way, Robert is checking in. Not you, Robert. The other Robert. Mika's IQ, I need some help figuring this one out, is measured by a single hand by a single digit. I'll have to work on the math on that one, but I think I know where he's coming
Meanwhile,
from.
Ottawa.
So we're going with 5, I think, is what Robert is saying, is because I've only got 5 digits on one hand.
Because their refusal to wear masks meant they were not to order in restaurants. That soup kitchen tweeted COVID protesters were given meals to diffuse the conflict, and that this weekend's events have caused significant strain on our operations at an already difficult
So
time.
these anti-vaxxers,
Okay, now what do you guys put any? Is there any credence to that? That somebody went into this homeless shelter and like demanded all their? Were they masked homeless food shelter robbers? Robert, is that what happened?
No, they've been all the food that they've been donated. They can't possibly use it all, so they left it out on tailgates and flat deck trucks and tables because if people brought campers there. So there's food. Anybody, doesn't matter who you are. If you need water, you need a hot dog or hamburger, they'll give it to you.
Yeah.
And the leftovers, they're begging homeless to come and get it. Like anything they can do to help people. They're sweeping the street. They're shoveling snow in their areas. They're picking up garbage. Like it is the most spotless, perfect, pristine protest anybody's ever seen.
Right. And folks, I got to tell you, I called Robert on Saturday, and it was hard to talk to him because hey, hang on a second, because you were working a food bank or something. Now that was in Regina, but I mean, I talked to you for 10 minutes, and you were interrupted like 4 or 5 times by people donating food to the food bank. By the way, I wish you could see Morning Joe on there. Remember the story of the Grinch that stole Christmas, whose heart was like 2 or 3 sizes too small? What is up with Morning Joe? Because his eyes are like 5 sizes too small. I think he bought his
He's
eyes.
been vaccinated.
He's been. I think he bought his eyes at Hobby Lobby and had them pasted on. But anyway, he's going to have some really erudite things to say here.
actually took food from the mouths of the homeless.
Hungry, yeah.
Because they're so put upon.
See, the truckers there, Tony, they actually, homeless people were about to take a bite, and the truckers pulled the food. Right, actually, they'd already taken a bite. They reached inside their mouth and pulled the food out.
Dug it out.
That's pretty bad, isn't it?
It's horrible thing to do.
It's funny. Throughout the convoy, all the way from BC and heading to Ottawa and the other areas that were joining, they could not hold as much food, and so they have constantly in every town been donating extra food and everything that they could that was surplus to our homeless shelters and to our food banks, to our soup kitchens and things like that. So nobody is reaching into a homeless person's mouth. In fact, they're probably trying to put food in their hands and tell them to eat and have a good meal and tell them that they're loved and they're Canadian and God bless them.
I posted a little just walk video. I think it was Friday when we had a devastating snowstorm. We had Robert, we had an inch of snow here in Cincinnati. It was it stopped traffic, and but. I mentioned going through a lot of the video that you've sent me, all the Citizen Journal journalist videos, the overwhelming joy, seriously, the overwhelming joy that was just so obvious. And I said, that is a spiritual force that these people, they don't understand it and they can't overcome it. I'm going to keep rolling with, because Morning Joe with his beady Hobby Lobby eyes is going to say some really intelligent stuff here.
I'm just curious again, where were these protests when people were required to get 5 vaccines to start school? Where were these protests when people were required to get their children 5 vaccines?
They were in the doctor's office getting vaccines.
They were in the doctor's office getting vaccines. They were making fun of left-wingers on the West Coast for being loopy anti-vaxxers.
Now, I want to take this apart because he's talking about these people. First of all, tell me if I'm right about this. I think one thing that's been not surprising, but interesting, a lot of these people that are showing up at this in this convoy, a lot of them have been vaccinated. Isn't that true?
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
About 90%. Probably even. Yeah.
So it's not about the vaccine. It's about the mandates. But getting back to beady-eyed, Hobby Lobby-eyed Morning Joe, he just said, where were these people when they were, forced to get 5 or 6 vaccines to get into school? Now, help me with this. I started school, I think I was about 6 years of age. So in other words, if I wasn't involved in a 45-mile long bicycle convoy at age 6, I would be a hypocrite for driving my truck about vaccine mandates now. Did I hear that right, Robert? Is that basically what he's saying?
Yeah, it's about as much sense as I can make out of it.
And yeah. So they were in their doctor's office protesting that. So yeah, all you 6-year-old hypocrites out there, either get on your bicycles and bicycle up to Ottawa, or you have forever forfeited your right to protest via truck.
Now they have met the enemy, and the enemy, their enemy, is themselves, because they've become what they hated. They've become what they mocked, and now they're taking food from soup kitchen because they're so put upon for being asked to do what they've been asked to do, required to do their entire lives.
Coming up.
It's a cult.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Tony.
Dozens of trucks and other.
Tony, are the truckers and the convoyists and the desecrationists, just be honest, we can take it. Are they a cult? Is this a cult?
No,
Tony?
this is not a cult.
Is it a religion?
That is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard.
Oh.
Yet, almost. Although if you've known our prime minister, there's been some really ridiculous things coming out of his mouth lately. But to say this is a cult, give your heads a bloody shake. This is absolute ludicrous.
Is this your first time? Is this your first time hearing this, dude?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've never seen it. Yeah. I've never heard any of this before.
This is what they're doing. Okay, now I think this next one is gonna be okay, yeah. Now, when I did my quick little walk around, I said, listen, stay in joy. I said, guts, joy, unity. You're showing guts. Keep that joy. They don't have any way to overcome that. And no matter what, walk in unity. And I also said, don't be surprised if the U.S. State Department tries to pull a false flag operation, or the FBI or CIA tries to get involved. And sure enough, now you can't see this and there's not much audio, but I want to play it for the audience. And Robert, I know you're familiar with it. This is the guy. I'm just going to let it play. This is the dude that has the Confederate flag and the black ski mask on. And all the people,
Now he's gone.
they're calling him out.
Called him out. He knows.
He goes home with his head laying there.
Have you seen, do you know the clip I'm talking about?
I'm watching it right now. I haven't seen it. I've heard all about it. And yeah, there's zero tolerance. There's truckers with zip ties in their pockets in case something happens. They're not going to let what happened at the Capitol happen here. They see anything, they're going to stop it. They're not going to wait for somebody to get in. They're going to stop it, get the police, have them deal with it. It's awesome.
I am so impressed and so proud of these truckers and these convoy desecrationists. But also, I think this is also, how do you say it? This is a testimony to the fact that the awoke patriots globally, and we don't get our information from CBC and NBC and the mainstream media. We get it kind of what we're doing right now, but we are hip and we are tuned into the fact that this is the kind of BS they try to pull. And I tell you what, when you see the clip, it's just like Ray Epps on January 6th, where they're saying Fed, Fed, Fed. And I'm very impressed that this movement in Canada is able to spot this. I think I'm going back to your fearless leader with this one.
The small fringe
We
minority
played this, but he's going to say a little
of
extra.
people who are on their way to Ottawa, or who are holding unacceptable views that they're expressing.
I'll stop right there. Tony, are you an unacceptable view holder? Are you an unacceptable view holder?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
No,
Where
absolutely. Always have been.
I have not been to Ottawa. Where is your ministry of acceptable views, and who is the head minister of view acceptability? How does that work?
Well, currently he had originally tested negative and
Okay.
on a close exposure, and then he had to isolate for 5 days. And in that 5 days, somehow managed to come in a contact with these terrible C thing, and now he's positive, and he has to isolate for 100 days. I don't know. We're hoping that he stays gone, and maybe he's abdicating from his throne, and we can move lives.
I don't know why I thought of this, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. This is like a journey into the deep dark resources of my feeble mind. Robert, you were just a twinkle in your father's eye at the time. But when I was a boy, it was very popular, at least in the United States. They were called lawn darts or jars, and they were about 18 inches long, big fins, and a heavy metal like almost bullet-like thing, but big. And you would throw them, and you'd play games. And they were popular. They sold all over the place. There was only one problem. When you got, Uncle Bob on the other team and his son, who was your nephew or your cousin, however, eventually people started getting hit in the head by those lawn jarts, and that usually didn't work out too good. And my point is, we took them off the market. So I thought we took things off the market if they don't really work. And so does that have any relevance to what's happening supposedly with Justin Trudeau hiding out in the bat cave because he tested positive because he did he ever get the jart?
Well, it obviously isn't working if he did.
All right.
Two and two together wouldn't be that hard to add, but
yeah. I mean, it just seems okay. I think there's a little more I want to play from.
Do not represent the views of Canadians who have been there for each other,
Yeah.
who know that following the science and stepping up to protect each other is the best way to continue to ensure our freedoms, our rights, our values as a country.
So did I hear that right? Everybody that stays locked down, everybody that can't buy groceries without a passport, everybody that can get arrested if they have more than 5 people celebrating New Year's or Christmas, that's the best way to stay free. Is that basically what he just said, Tony? Did I lose you, Tony, or we have you still here? Robert, you there?
yeah, it's still there.
All right. We might have lost Tony just for a second, but did I hear that right? Did I just hear him say anyway? Let me move to this next clip here.
I want to be very clear. We are not intimidated by those who hurl insults and abuse at small business workers and steal food from the homeless. We won't give in to those who fly racist flags.
Robert, I think he needs to make a correction. I think there was a flag there, but I agree with him. I wouldn't give in to that guy in a ski mask either. And if you want to just message Tony, she can just re-click that link and probably come back.
We won't cave to those who engage in vandalism or dishonor the memory of our veterans.
Right.
I want to thank the many Canadians who've made donations to the Shepherds of Good Hope and to the Terry Fox Foundation in response to what they saw this weekend. There is no place in our country.
But Robert, you can't see it. What he's got in his own video is of, I guess it's a statue, and somebody put a hat on it, and he's making it hold a sign that says "Mandate Freedom." But
Yep, that's Terry Fox.
Okay.
It is the statue, and that's all they did to it.
Yeah.
They put like one of the lead hockey team hats on it.
Yeah.
And a little flag, that blue handle, and then the Canadian flag, and Mandate Freedom. Another politician did it with LGBTQ flag.
Right.
Like there's video of that with somebody standing beside it. Like it's not the first time that this has happened, but it's the first time they've made a big deal out of it.
For those of us non-Canadian, who was Terry Fox? Well, he's pretty important to your nation, obviously, but who was Terry Fox?
He was a fellow that tried to run across Canada without a leg.
Okay.
He had cancer, so he's Terry. They call it Terry Fox Run.
Yeah.
So it's very famous.
Okay.
So he was one heck of a man.
Yeah, so he's a national hero. Well, I'll tell you what,
Yeah.
looking at this picture, that's some pretty high-class desecration, if you ask me.
Threats,
Okay.
violence, or hatred. So
There's-
for those responsible for this behavior, it needs to stop.
Now, I want to ask you about this next. He's going to say
To
something here.
anyone who joined the convoy but is rightly uncomfortable with the symbols of hatred and division on display, join with your fellow Canadians. Be courageous and speak out.
Robert, he is reaching so hard.
Yep.
I mean, we've all seen the footage, symbols of hate. I mean, is he telling people, don't believe your eyes, but believe what I'm telling you? I mean,
Well, it's unbelievable, and they're perfectly played clips with the only things that have happened. They've tried the only things that they can grab to do anything with, that they have actual video footage, because all of them are too chicken to even come out there.
yeah.
You know, even the media, they won't come out there because they're not allowed to. They couldn't possibly turn their cameras on anything, because all I get is the goodness that's coming out of it.
They're in like your CBC, the state supported by Trudeau's millions, national media and stuff like that. Are they showing any of the real footage from this or not?
I don't know. I try to stay off all mainstream stuff. I can't stand it. Just like the stuff you showed me, I'd probably break my TV. I couldn't do it.
All righty.
You know what I can't get, Everett, is with Biden and Trudeau, what's with the whispering? When they're trying to get a point across, there must be some mental thing that they're trying to do with the whispering.
Well, now I'm going to get serious for a second based on that, because I'm going to let this play out. We got another minute. And I don't know if Tony can't, but if you want to just message her, if she probably clicks the link, she can get back in, or maybe she had to run. But here's one thing that I did notice, and I'm going to have to describe it, because there's two things I want to watch for. It seems like he's very weakly, but trying to send a veiled threat message to any other government people. And then there's a time where he must have worked on it and memorized, because he stares at the camera and he doesn't look away. Like right now. Anyway, I'm going to play this.
Do not stand for or with
Here he goes. He's
intolerance and hate.
Don't blink, Justin. Oh.
To the politicians exploiting people's fears, I ask you.
Okay, and I'm sorry, the politician, his name is escaping me. He's the guy.
That was Maxime Bernier. The only one of the few clips that Maxime has been there. And he picked it.
Yep. He's scared of him. Now, I want you to listen. Well, you've heard it, but I want to play it, because it seems like he's trying to threaten with the powers of Big Brother. I'm going to let it play.
Stand for or with intolerance and hate.
There's Tony coming back.
To the politicians exploiting people's fears, I ask you to think long and hard about the consequences of your actions.
Now, what is he saying there, Tony, if you're with us? He just said, he played the little clip of Maxime Bernier and just for a few seconds, and he said to the politicians, I want you to think long and hard about the consequences. What is he really doing there, seriously? Tony, are you with us?
He's doing what he always. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's he doing?
He's doing what he always does. He's bravadoing. Our tiny little prime minister every now and then tries to borrow some jankies from somebody else and talk out of his ass.
Okay.
Nothing he says at this point, it doesn't even matter. Like there's no amount of, it makes no sense. You're going to threaten your provincial people because ultimately he knows this is illegal. This is 100% unlawful. And he's just trying to use his big intimidation, which he has none.
Right. And Tony, do you think most Canadians are starting to see that? Are they buying his line of BS, or are they seeing through it just like you are?
Yeah, no, Canadians are waking up. They are waking up in the masses, in the droves. This convoy has absolutely not only just woken Canadians up to his rhetoric and to his nonsense, but it has united a country Like it could never have been united before. And it is absolutely blowing him out of the water. He does not know what to do, where to go. You know, mommy's only handing him so many Kleenex to cry. Yeah, it's pathetic.
I think that's what
issue, Jeff.
I really think that's what the why he has COVID now, because he can't. When he was in the House of Commons today with the Zoom call, his face is all puffy. You know, he's been bawling his eyes out, and Mommy's been rubbing his back and rocking him to sleep.
Canadians don't like me anymore.
Well, maybe he's been in a seance and trying to channel the spirit of Fidel, his father, and it hadn't been working out. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or
I don't even think the devil.
These tears are because he knows that he's letting Fidel down. He's not living up to his father's ideals. His stepdad is rolling over in his grave. Like, this is just ridiculous. I mean, even his own stepbrother is just like, I have no idea. The guy's an idiot. Like,
he's the softest person, period.
This reminds me, I have spent some time in car sales, okay? And you know, the thing about selling cars, you always have a sales manager or a guy at the desk. And this sounds like a desperation save. It's like when somebody says, no, the guy across town is going to actually give me the interest rate that I can get and not tack 2 points on it. And then, so they'll say something like, well, yeah, but what they do is they'll hook you up with a bank that's going to go bankrupt. And then you know, they say this most ridiculous stuff in a desperate Hail Mary, but it never works. I'm going to play the rest of this clip, see if there's anything that
to the nearly 90% of truckers.
Oh, here's where he looks into the camera.
Who've gotten vaccinated, who continue working hard to keep us fed and keep our economy moving. Thank you. Truckers have tough jobs. Long hours on the road. Days away from.
I'm sorry, guys. You've probably seen this, but he's like, has he been to acting school, Tony?
Yep.
He's a drama teacher.
What?
Yeah, he's a drama teacher. Well, he's an assistant drama teacher.
Well,
he's a fired drama teacher. Yep. And the only time that I've seen this clip is right about where somebody like altered it, and a semi came in and smacked him. That's the clip I like.
Yeah, I didn't get this far. It just took him out.
Yeah, because he's done. I've never even seen the rest of his dumb clip because the semi took him out.
He's trying to fake like half cry. He's trying to do an Adam Kinzinger. He says, truckers, you got a tough job.
That's why they took him out with the truck. It was hilarious.
Let's be very clear about this man. He has never held a job. He has never been able to keep a job. He was a fired and failed drama teacher, a failed surfer.
Ski instructor.
He does pull off the blackface very well. Apparently he can dance very well. You know, and apparently he can bankrupt a country very well.
Pick up little girls and pay them off.
Yes, that too. Yes.
Okay. Let's see if there's anything else, and then I want to compare him to somebody. We'll wrap this up. Come on.
Real challenges, particularly over the past 2 years, as they've continued to step up to put food on our shelves.
He's rocking on his toes.
To support us with life-saving medication and supplies. We have relied on you, and you can rely on us to continue to stand with you and allow you to do your jobs safely.
Yeah. Justin, dude, you're toast, man. You are toast. Yep. Okay.
Justin is facing charges right now.
Yeah.
If he wasn't able to successfully channel his father, Fidel, I think if he had a good medium, they might have tried to make contact with the spirit of this dude here. Now, Tony, you're young and tender. You will be way too young to recognize this.
You're my favorite human.
At the same time, this is a good testimony. This is a good proof that they are criminals and they are killers.
Yep.
And they are believing in assassinations.
Yep.
So I think they should be condemned. They are stupid and condemned.
All right, Robert, who is that? You can't see it. Who is it? Do you know? You're way too young.
Well, I can actually see it, but I don't. Yeah, no, I don't know. I should know.
Tony, you're a good student of history. Do you have it? You can take a guess. I would be surprised if you know who that is.
Gaddafi.
Actually, it's Baghdad Bob. Okay. So when the U.S., and I'm not supporting that we ever went to Iraq in the first place, but one thing is definitely true. They cleaned up in just a few days, but they had that Saddam Hussein had this guy, Baghdad Bob, that would stand up and there'd be bombs going all over the place. And he'd say, "We are driving them into the swamp." There aren't any swamps in Iraq, but I mean,
no.
But
Well,
day after day, he would just go out there and pathetically lie. That's just who. Am I reaching too much, or is that a good
Nope.
analogy?
No.
Justin is right now.
Yeah.
All right, I just got one more clip, and you won't be able to see this, but I want you to please listen and tell me if it's relevant to what we're talking about. Here we go.
Do you presume to criticize the great art? You ungrateful creatures think yourself lucky that I'm giving you audience tomorrow instead of 20 years from now. Oh, the great Oz has spoken. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. Oz has spoken.
Who do you think that was?
Probably Soros. I don't know. Soros, Gates.
The difference between the Wizard of Oz was that I believe the Wizard of Oz had a bloody heart.
Yeah, he did.
You know, and the great Oz has spoken. You know, this is just Trudeau is so far up the creek right now. I mean, they've got MPs charging him for crimes against humanity and treason right now. No wonder he's bloody hiding. I mean, and honestly, the smartest thing the man can do is abdicate right now. Honestly, it's just and the thing is that as Canadians, we have to do better. We have to start watching our politicians and holding them accountable. We need to start charging these people, even at like a civilian level. We need to start charging them and holding them accountable. We need to start training our own people, our good, really good people. Like you looking at Ottawa, that is how many hundreds of thousands of people get into office, run against these buggers and take it over, and let's change our democracy, because this is the great Oz has spoken.
Well, Tony, we're going to have you back real soon, and we want to talk about that. And there's a similar thing here in the States going on called precinctstrategy.com and others. But that's exactly what's happening is people are looking at this stuff that's happening at like the national and macro level, and they're realizing that the real way to counteract that is get hyper involved, starting right at your own backyard, your own back door. But it's happening, and that's what scares these people.
Yes.
Let's to kind of close, not on a necessarily a serious note, but seriously, where is this thing going? What's really going to happen with this? What do you think? I mean, are these truckers just going to say, "Okay, it was fun. Now I got to get back to work"? What's happening?
No, these guys have gone down there. I think the GoFundMe page has reached over $10 million. They have already lost so much. They know that they're staying down there. These long haul rigs can stay down there for weeks on end without a problem. We have food. We have fuel trucks going out to some of the ones that were stranded. We have just a phenomenal amount of support. These guys are not going anywhere, and they have given the government two choices. You either resign and take your cabinet with you, or you drop all mandates, never to come back again. And I believe in my heart of hearts, these guys are serious. They are not moving. They are not flinching. So, for somebody that wants to come out there with his little straitjacket on and say, well, we're not going to be intimidated. Well, then why don't you come out and talk to your people there, Mr. Quackjob? Pull up your big socks, pull up your pretty socks, coif your hair. Figure out what exactly you got to do here, big guy, and come and talk to the real men of Canada, the real men and women that have provided and kept this country going all the way through a dang pandemic. Come on out, sweetheart. Figure out exactly where your big boy pants are, because they're waiting for you and they're not going anywhere.
Robert, I like this gal here. Hey, I think I've got one more in this, Robert, and we're going to close with this. I think this will prove something to you.
So this must be something that's on the radar. I mean, it's all out in the open. We've reported it. It's been in a bunch of national newspapers. You're a charity watchdog guy.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there because you can't see it. But Robert, yes, this is true. So there was one clip where Justin Trudeau said, I have shown up at protest rallies that are okay to show up because they agree with me. And he mentioned BLM, and it's true. Patrisse Cullors, the lesbian, let's destroy the nuclear family, I'm a Marxist, co-founder of BLM, bought about $10 million. By the way, I helped her buy that because I did contribute to $5 to BLM because I wanted to track it. And yes, it did go directly to the Democrat Party, and I have the receipts for that. All right. But she bought a $10 million. Maybe I can stay there sometime. But she bought $10 million worth of property. But BLM, just funneling it through a BLM affiliated charity, bought like a $6 million mansion in Canada. And so, Tony, my question for you is, do you think Justin might actually be hiding out in Patrisse Cullors' new mansion there in Canada? Is that possible? That's where he's at.
Well, he can't go to Pedo Island anymore, so possibly.
Robert, I like this girl. Okay. Will you agree to come back and we can really get into depth about what you're up against or what you're up to and the things that are happening there? Can I nail you down for that? And,
yes, absolutely.
Well, listen, I want to say thanks for coming on. I've been trying to get this documentary of mine done for the longest time, so this is going to put me back one more night. But I just wanted to come on here because to me, it is so absolutely obvious how desperate they are. And if it were up to me, no Canadian would spend any time saying, we're not violent, we're not racist. Don't just look right at them and say your Marxism doesn't work on me, pal, and look right through it. They're trying, they're desperate, but they don't have a snowball's chance in where Justin's going.
And he can take his fake news media with him.
Yep,
absolutely. Robert, any last words? I'm gonna close out here in just a second.
No. I guess when you look at everything that's going on, everything we're doing, it's like divine intervention. Nobody's trying to do anything. There's right now there was people with, we want to do this and that and have some goals at the end of it. Now it's so massive. There's no plan. It's just unfolding. Everything's honest. You can't fight honest and God.
That's right.
There's no tool to fight that.
That's right.
Yeah. You made a little correction because we talked earlier and Robert said it's almost like divine intervention. I said, Robert, it's not almost like
it is.
It is divine. God's got his hand on, and I believe that God's got his hand on some people that they don't even really understand what's happening, but it's like a fire shut up in their bones, and they gotta talk and they gotta move. And
there is a huge revival happening in Canada right now, and that's how you know that God is at the center of all of this, because we went from having our convoy here in Regina, and it was, I think, like -1 degree. It was sunshiny. It was beautiful. We did it and then the next day we had an Alberta Clipper roll in, shut everything down, and we blizzarded for a while. And now it's -30. So, really, God was like, all right, you guys are doing this here. You're doing my work. And God's hand is all over this. And the spiritual attack and the spiritual warfare that's happening in Canada for this great country right now is profound. And we need all of the prayers that we can get right now.
Amen. Amen. That is a perfect note to end on. Tony, very nice to meet you. Thanks for coming on. We'll talk again soon. Robert, thanks for rolling out of bed. Usually sleep till 5 in the afternoon. No, I'm kidding. Guys, really appreciate it. This was a lot of fun, and I think that's what we needed to do tonight. So I'll be in touch with Robert, be in touch with you, Tony. We'll schedule something. But once again, thanks, and keep up the good work. And yes, this is something that God's doing. And I always say, this is how I close the program, Tony. I say, until next time, God bless you and God bless your family. God bless the state of Ohio, which is standing up for the United States, which is standing up for the rest of the world, especially including our beloved brethren in Canada. Good night, y'all. Thanks.
Good night, Everett. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.